You're listening to the Decentralized Talk Podcast, your crypto connection.
Decentralized Talk. Decentralized Talk.
Alrighty, guys, welcome to another fantastic episode of the woefully underproduced Decentralized Talk Podcast. We want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing from the United Arab Emirates to Stockholm. Also, a big shout out to the Sunshine State for being our largest market by far for growth month over month. We have an exciting and thought-provoking show for you today as we focus on the impact of artificial intelligence in the crypto space. Our coin spotlight of the week is SingularityNet, and we interview 250,000 view producer Ivan from the Watchman review of YouTube fame on AI and Bitcoin. Of course, we follow up on who's winning the 2018 Coin of the Week and sprinkle in a little of the latest crypto-relevant happenings like blockchain in the business and Litecoin Cash. As always, guys, this is not investing advice. This is just our opinion. So please do your own research when investing in cryptocurrencies. Let's start off with this week in cryptos. Hesto, tell me about business and blockchain.
I think as we see with a lot of businesses right now, and then we're talking traditional businesses, not cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, is a lot of them are trying to use blockchain and cryptocurrencies as a means to up their value. And I think I wouldn't necessarily call them scams, but I think there's not a lot of substance there at the end. So we got like Kodak tried it last month, beginning of January. They said they're going to come out with their own cryptocurrency, Kodak coin. And the backlash from the crypto community was like, this is bullshit. And you guys, really what's going on is you guys have a failing company and you're trying to use cryptocurrencies to improve your business. And then you got Atari this week announced that they're going to have Atari coin. I think it's the same exact thing. Like the business is failing and they're trying to use cryptocurrencies to like pump some enthusiasm into their business again.
So, Hesto, hey, I wanted to ask you about Kodak and Atari. Now, is it Kodak proper and Atari, like the companies, are they getting involved in blockchain themselves, or are they licensing out their name, or how exactly are they implementing the blockchain into their protocol?
They're doing it themselves. They're not licensing out their name. The company itself is creating its own cryptocurrency. I mean, really, the real reason is to improve their stock value, but they're saying it's going to be used on their platforms. So like Atari specifically, they're going to have a Atari coin, which can be used for like in-game purchases and to buy games and stuff like that. And, so they're using it in their business.
Yeah, I lived in Rochester, New York for a couple of years. That's the headquarters of Kodak. And I can tell you that they did a hell of a job basically screwing up that town. And it sounds like they're doing a hell of a job screwing up blockchain. What about Visa?
Well, different businesses, before we go on to Visa, are using blockchain differently. So let's say Kodak and Atari. Kodak's using it as a basically like a copyright thing for their photographers. Now they might be just using the name blockchain technology to pump their stock price, but they're also a company that's behind the times. Same with Atari. So they're also using it, I think, to grow their business as well, because bring it into the times. People, cryptocurrencies are a big thing right now. It's going to drive a younger user base, and they're making a decent use case for it. So, but you can look at other companies like Long Island Iced Tea Company. They simply added blockchain to their name, and their stock rose 183%. They didn't even change blockchain technology. They just changed it from Long Island Iced Tea Company to Long Blockchain Corp.
Oh my God.
So there's differences there. At least I think Kodak and Atari are trying to utilize the technology Sure, their stock prices rose from Kodak. It was $3 to $10, and it's currently at $6, $6.55. And then I think Atari went up something like Bloomberg reported 60% after they announced it as well. But at least they're trying to make a use case for it and use the technology, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't think these things are scams necessarily. Like they're just saying they're going to create a cryptocurrency and then they don't do it. I don't think it's a scam in that aspect. I just think I don't think they're going to be successful at what they're trying to accomplish. That's just my opinion.
Is it weird that the two of the first companies that are predominantly doing this are companies that have a specific history? I mean, they have almost like a similar history of having a product that was a world dominator and then literally just letting it slip out of their hands. Like, I mean, is there anything?
Yeah, no, I think that is interesting. That really, those are some of the oldest in the industry that they're in. You know, Atari is one of the first video game makers ever, and Kodak was one of the first in photography. So yeah, that is kind of interesting.
Oh, they're trying to rebrand themselves now. Like you said, it's no coincidence because they're old companies. They're trying to bring themselves into the current times, I feel like. And I don't think that that's a bad way of doing it.
They should make a camera that prints a picture like right when you take it. You could like shake it in the air. You take the picture and then it would print the picture out immediately on like special film, and you could like shake it.
Polaroid.
And then, oh shit, that's right. Somebody already did.
All right.
So tell me about Visa.
Real quickly, like those are really companies that are trying to integrate it with a cryptocurrency in mind. But then there's other companies that are using blockchain without creating a cryptocurrency, because that's what Visa is doing. Visa is almost doing what Ripple's doing, except they're not tokenizing it. So they're using the blockchain to create. So their protocol is called B2B Connect, and they're basically trying to make it cheaper and faster to transfer funds from business to business. So they're not coming out with a cryptocurrency. They just have a blockchain protocol that's going to make, those transactions, B2B transactions, faster. So they're kind of going a different route with it. They're not trying to tokenize it so they can say, oh, we're going to have an ICO and then their stock prices goes up. I think they're just looking at the overall picture of this is probably something that we should use to our advantage, is blockchain technology.
Cool. Well, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. Tell me what's going on with Litecoin Cash. I keep hearing about Litecoin Cash. We all know Bcash and Bitcoin Cash. What the hell is Litecoin Cash, and who's talking about it?
I don't think anybody really knows what Litecoin Cash really is.
I don't think we talk about this too long, to be honest.
Yeah. So is it a scam? In my opinion, most definitely it is a scam. Charlie Lee came out on Twitter and said it was a scam. So the creator of Litecoin said it was a scam and said, don't invest in it. There's
a pretty good sign.
Yeah. There's so many reasons why I think it's a scam.
It's an unnecessary upgrade.
Yeah. They said that they want to make the blocks faster, but Litecoin's already super fast. Now they said they were going to increase the block rate to 2.5 minutes per block, which would be a little faster, but Litecoin's not having an issue with that. So yeah, it's unnecessary. And also just the whole process seems super sketchy to me. It's not a normal fork as with like Bitcoin. If you had your Bitcoin in a Bitcoin wallet and then it forked off into Bitcoin Cash, you automatically get that Bitcoin Cash because it forked off the original blockchain. Litecoin Cash is a little different. So you have your Litecoin, and instead of having it in a Litecoin wallet, you just automatically get these. They say 10 Litecoin Cashes for every Litecoin. Instead of working traditionally, this one is really scammy like. So you have to have your Litecoin in a Litecoin wallet, and then you provide Litecoin Cash dev team with your private keys. Come on, guys. You don't give out your private keys. to anybody, not even another coin. Never. So you give them your private keys and then they deposit Litecoin Cash into a separate wallet. No thanks, guys. Not me.
I don't like Litecoin, and I just didn't want to risk it, so I didn't go through with it. Maybe I'm missing out, but
we could be all wrong, and Litecoin Cash turns into like a $5,000.
I didn't trust it myself, so
no. And if you look at their website, it doesn't really say anything about it.
Yeah, so Litecoin Cash, I'm going to go with a negative on that. But one of the things I think that is a win in the crypto space, in terms of something that's a scam, or trying to find out if it's a scam, or trying to identify a little bit more into a deep dive of one of the coins, is artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence specifically in the cryptocurrency space. So it kind of leads us into our next segment. Let's take this from the very beginning, because I think there's some controversy around artificial intelligence, even being from the creation of Bitcoin at the beginning. So let's just talk about, so for everybody out there who's joining the podcast, this is your very first episode, you don't know anything about cryptocurrency. One of the first things you learn about cryptocurrency is, who is Satoshi Nakamoto, right? And then one of the first questions that you have after everybody's explained everything they know about Satoshi Nakamoto is, who is Satoshi Nakamoto, right? So let's talk about that. Guys, Prater, who created Bitcoin? Who is this guy?
Well, nobody really knows who created Bitcoin. Was it a person? Was it a team of people? Was it a government? Was it aliens? Was it AI? I mean, nobody knows who created it other than either the person, people, or thing that created it. And it's completely anonymous right now. I lean towards the fact that a government or government agency created it. That's just my thought. I could be completely wrong. It could have been some genius, but I mean, for me, what the government created the Tor browser, so their agents could respond anonymously, basically back to base. I mean, what's a better way to throw out a completely anonymous application? Well, maybe they didn't create it, but they definitely funded it. But anyways.
Wait, so Prater, so you were talking to me about this offline the other day.
Yeah.
Go into detail, because that was really mind-blowing to me. Before we get too deep into the AI, we'll call it conspiracy theory, sure. Tell me about so you have a pretty strong argument case for
circumstantial evidence, but strong in my mind.
I think it's strong. No, I think it's a pretty well. In any event, it's the logic follows. So when you're talking about the Tor browser and how to hide CIA agents in
general government agents. Yeah, because with the Tor browser, if you're not familiar with it, it works on the deep web, dark web, I guess the deep web, technically not the dark web, but and it functions as a browser. But
deep dark web.
100% anonymous, and was funded by the U.S. Navy at one point. But basically, the thought is that they use it for transacting messages. And what better way to do that than to throw something out to the public, get hundreds of thousands and millions of people on it, and then throw your agents into it, and it's completely anonymous. They're, one fish in a sea of a million, and nobody knows, where that information is coming from, where it's going.
Yeah, it's like if you were going to do like a document dump and give it to somebody, it'd probably be a lot sneakier to do it just kind of hand it to somebody anonymously in Grand Central Station than it would to say, hey, I'm going to go meet you out there in the desert, and
Well, and if they were to create their own internet, people wouldn't, if somebody were to find it, a hacker would find it eventually, and he's going to know everybody that's on it works for the government, or, section off a piece of your personal or your government agency's land or whatever and do it that way, same issue. But when you give it to everybody and, like you said, hide it in the middle of a crowd, it's a perfect way to hide. But
so much
with Bitcoin. If you want to do the exact same thing with transferring funds, what's a better way to do it than an anonymous cryptocurrency that you push out to the public? I mean, you can.
Yeah, and we talked about this the other. Yeah, we talked about this the other day on the Daily Show. Me and Prayer about how Bitcoin is still the top coin on the dark web, according to these organizations, these firms that do the research on that. So, I mean, if Bitcoin is, every time you hear people talk about Bitcoin's anonymity, you also hear somebody come back and say, no, it's not anonymous anymore. They can totally track you down. Well, if that was true, then why is it the number one? Why is it still the top choice in the dark web?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that actually kind of surprises me because we're finding out now like Bitcoin is not as anonymous as we used to think it was, and a lot of other coins have kind of fixed a lot of those problems, like Monero and Verge and Nav and all those privacy coins have kind of fixed a lot of issues with Bitcoin that makes it not as anonymous.
Yeah, that's what was so crazy about this article is that they were saying that basically a lot of these privacy coins are not even most of these privacy coins. I think Monero was the top privacy coin in the stream, but other than Monero, I think any of these coins were being really used for these dark web purchases. Now I don't know how they track that. I mean, it's on the dark web. It's supposed to be anonymous. How do you track an anonymous purchase? I don't know, but supposedly. Those are the results.
I mean, well, I guess they could track how people are purchasing it with coin, but they can't track where that's going with certain coins.
Yeah, I see, and not that person. That makes sense.
Well, I was reading somewhere, and maybe I was dreaming it, and I'm making this up, but the purpose originally behind Bitcoin wasn't anonymity, but privacy. And privacy doesn't always mean that you don't 100% know who it is.
Exactly.
It's like there's a privacy with using the dollar because, you can't really trace it. You're going to go pay cash for something. That person, if he has a great memory, is going to remember you for a little while. But, when paying for cash with something, there's privacy there. And the same with Bitcoin. Not that, 100% never know who this person is that did this transaction, but there's the privacy factor there that, they don't know exactly who it is without doing a whole lot of digging.
So yeah, that's one school of thought, of who is Satoshi Nakamoto. Maybe he is a government agency. But another thought, well, this definitely could be aliens, but another school of thought is that artificial intelligence created cryptocurrencies. That's really interesting too. So, I mean, we really don't know who created Bitcoin, who this Satoshi Nakamoto. It could be some guy and he's dead now, but it definitely could be artificial intelligence. I think that's an interesting theory.
With cryptocurrencies and AI, there's a bunch of stuff. There's the creation or the question of whether AI created blockchain technology. Then that brings us into the world of AI and the blockchain, where companies are integrating AI into a blockchain. You have SingularityNet, Deep Brain Chain. You've got a few of them there. And then, what's the future with that? Because part of, I think, SingularityNets is so that the AI can talk to each other. I mean, it opens up a whole world of possibilities of where AI can go and where the blockchain can go. And it could get crazy.
Yeah, and also when you tie in blockchain technology and artificial intelligence, how much more control does that give artificial intelligence? Because if they're able to connect to basically a global network, which is what blockchain at its base is, what does that mean for artificial intelligence? Does that give them more power, or does it make it easier to keep them, in line without glitches? I don't know. I feel like if there's a global network, and they're all and artificial intelligence is all connected, then it's just kind of a recipe for disaster. If a glitch happens, then it's going to affect everything on the network. That's my fear in this whole thing.
Yeah, so with that, guys, we want to introduce you to Ivan from the Watchman Review. We want to really thank him for coming on the program today. He's got a video on YouTube. You should check it out. He's amassed over 250,000 views since November. It's based on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I would classify Ivan probably broadly as a Bitcoin skeptic. Would you say that that's probably accurate, Ivan?
That is correct. Yes.
All right.
And
awesome.
thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on as well.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being here, because it's important to us to have not necessarily, we talk about opposing views, but tangential views, right? Because there are places where we're definitely going to intersect. And it's important for us not to become ideologues into the Bitcoin space where it's popular for us hodlers out there. We hodl. But there is a point where it's important to get other pieces of information that can help us become better investors, or that can help us foresee pitfalls in any specific investment as we move along. So with that being said, there's certainly a few videos out there about cryptocurrencies and AI, but Ivan's was by far the most compelling. So you guys can check it out on YouTube at the YouTube channel. It's the Watchman Review. I encourage you guys to take a look at this video. It's about an hour long, and it's fantastic. And it really, really will open your eyes to a lot of what's going on in the AI space. So Ivan, if you could give me a brief synopsis of the video, tell me some of the things that to you are jumping out from a cryptocurrency and an AI perspective.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a deep subject. Yeah. So I'll just give you a quick backdrop too. Watchman Review originally started, I guess, almost a year ago now, kind of keeping an eye on what's going on, whether it be, government activity or just things that were of interest and alarming and concerning. So what I did is with this video, I noticed several things coming together as related to AI and Bitcoin. And of course, as we all know, Sophia came out and was attached to Bitcoin through Saudi Arabia to mine. And of course, that opens up a whole different world. So what I decided to do is throw bits and pieces of what I saw happening together into one video to alert the community, the world, of what I saw happening and where I think this might go.
Yeah, so tell us a little more about Saudi Arabia and about the citizenship and taxation as it applies to artificial intelligence, specifically Sophia.
Right. Okay. So what's interesting in my opinion, I would think that AI Sophia, she's probably wanting to have access to more information, right? That's how AI grows and learns. And so by connecting her to the internet, it's interesting, or to Bitcoin to data mine. What's interesting is that Saudi Arabia essentially has now an employee that they can tax, and of course, whatever she mines, they can tax, which is beneficial to Saudi Arabia. But on the flip side of that, my question becomes, what does that mean as far as AI? We have a citizen in Saudi Arabia when the women don't even get to drive and have, some of those privileges. But what does that mean for AI once it's unleashed on Bitcoin, and when she gets full access to the internet? What is that going to mean? I think we're moving too fast for her or AI's ability to keep up. One of my questions has always been is what happens when the technology outpaces the society?
And that's going to happen too.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place to be. I mean, they're saying right now that AI is 1 billion times smarter than a human being. I can't even fathom that.
Yeah, and then if you consider we're still in the infant stages of it, that's a scary thought.
Yeah,
I want to step back real quick to Sophia not being able to drive in Saudi Arabia, which is ironic to me with the advent of self-driving cars. The first self-driving Android may not be legally allowed to drive.
Yeah, it depends on how quickly we want to jump into this, how deep we want to get. But in truth, looking at AI by itself, the question becomes, what would she or AI be able to do? You have different AIs that are out there, and in the end, when they finally get to meet up, my question becomes is who's going to be the most powerful, and what are they going to have access to? Our best programmers in the world cannot even break into Bitcoin. So what does that mean as far as our ability to control AI in the future?
Well,
Yeah.
I read an article just recently about Facebook implementing in some AI, and they had, I think, 2 AI bots that they put on the actual Facebook website, and they had to shut them down because the bots were talking to each other and had created their own language, and Facebook couldn't figure out what they were saying to each other.
Right. That's right.
That's pretty spooky. Yeah, I heard that they were on a LAN basically, and so that they could. I think that ties right in, right? So in the Facebook scenario, those 2 bots were artificial intelligence that were set up on a LAN, so they could actually shut this off. It was not connected to the greater internet. But in the case of Sophia, I think the really scary thing that's happening here is that Sophia is actually tied into currently, right? So this has actually already happened. She's tied into the ERC20 network onto the Ethereum blockchain. So she has access to, I mean, you would assume if she could do it, right, she would have access to all of the GPUs, right, and all of the data processing capability of all the GPUs that are mining Ethereum currently. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I think when you looked at cryptocurrency specifically, okay, and you look at a specific blockchain, let's take Ethereum for example, since we're talking about Sophia. You can't really manipulate the blockchain unless you hold a specific majority share of the network, of the computing power. So Ethereum specifically, you would have to have 51% of the computing power, which really nobody can possess. But if you take something that's not a human and can access all parts of the block, like Sophia, that's where it starts to be a gray area where if she can access the network, if she's on the network, can that AI actually manipulate that network? So can she access all the information that's on the blockchain that's supposed to be anonymous and all this? Can she actually access that information and manipulate it to her advantage?
You know, manipulating the blockchain obviously has its issues, but on top of that is just, you know, all these computers that are mining, you know, with all of that computing power, from something I saw the other day, it said that all the computers that are mining Bitcoin are more powerful than all of the supercomputers in the world combined.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Exactly. Access to that computing power, and they're already learning that fast. Imagine how much faster and how much more they can do with just that little, you know, just a little bit of, you know, the Ethereum network, much less the whole mining.
And I think everyone can see the benefits of what AI can bring to the world. Okay, but when they're able to communicate with each other and learn exponentially, that's when it starts to get scary. That's when the implications of what they're being able to learn and what they'll be able to affect globally starts to really get into this creepy territory of, you know, if they can gain all this information so quickly at an exponential rate, and they're connected to a network that is, I mean, insanely huge like Ethereum, what can they accomplish from that? That's where it starts to get really, like, you know, really scary, honestly.
Yeah, and so that specific portion is covered in your video, and can you do me a favor? Can you tell me a little bit about who Dan Kaminsky is and how he interfaces in this project?
Yeah, please, because I don't know who that is.
Yeah, educate us, Brandon.
Oh, no, I don't really know.
I'm pretty sure that none of us know. Ivan,
no. Dan Kaminsky is basically an engineer and a white hat hacker. Probably one of the most talented and quite famous. I know he does a lot of talks at like the Black Hat conventions and all that, but he actually attempted to hack Bitcoin. And from what he...
Yeah, well, how'd that go, though?
It didn't go well. He basically said either that Bitcoin was created by a genius or a team of engineers, and also from the article that I read, they implied possibly could have been created by AI.
That's correct.
The code was so flawless that basically whenever every hack attempt that he tried to throw at Bitcoin, it rejected him before he even attempted it.
That's right.
Yep.
And you know what, Brandon, I'm going to pull this back a little bit as well. One of the questions that I think is important to ask is who developed Bitcoin? Now, what's really interesting is that when it came out, there was a gentleman by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. And, yep. And he's a mysterious guy, right? So supposedly this guy creates Bitcoin. He's got a bunch of money to back it. He's more brilliant than any programmer because no one could come up with this, as they've stated. But my question becomes is there's a rumor going out there, and it may be very true, is that it was after AI was created, AI was unleashed to create Bitcoin. And I could see that happening. And if it's true, my question becomes is how then does Sophia or AI use Bitcoin to gain access? If Sophia creates Bitcoin, then what kind of access does that give her, if indeed it was AI that created Bitcoin?
Well, so one thing I can address is that at least on the surface, right, at least ostensibly, the Bitcoin blockchain, right, is separate from, it is, I mean, it definitely is. It's separate from the Ethereum blockchain. So the Bitcoin blockchain is its own individual ledger, right? Everything is open to the public. It's completely verifiable. Same thing with the Ethereum blockchain. SingularityNet, which is where Sophia is linked into, is on the Ethereum blockchain. And Ivan, I know you're not as probably as deep into the cryptocurrency space, but they are two very separate things. So I don't. So in other words, Sophia wouldn't be able to be linked into the Ethereum blockchain and affect the GPUs that are mining Bitcoin and vice versa. They're not linked together. I mean, definitively part of their intention is that they are absolutely isolated, separate things from a communication standpoint. But the point stays the same on the Ethereum platform. So you got Singularity.net. And so the answer, I think, to the question is, so Hanson Robotics, right? For those of you out there who don't know, aren't familiar with it, Hanson Robotics is the umbrella corporation that owns and develops Sophia. And they stated on their website that their intention is through SingularityNet is to help other robots communicate with each other, share data with each other, make requests of each other, compensate each other, which is where this ties into cryptocurrency, and then rate each other. So they'll actually be able to incentivize these robots to compete against each other with like from a financial perspective, basically turning them into capitalists. And then also they'll be able to rate each other, which would, I don't know if it doesn't directly create a sense of like pride or embarrassment, but it could replicate the feelings of pride and embarrassment, right, based on the height of its ratings or the lowness of its ratings, and could emulate those human emotions. That's pretty scary.
And I mean, if we can go back to the who created Bitcoin. I mean, okay, so we know that there's something called Satoshi Nakamoto. Was it a guy? You know, was it a human being? Was it a group of humans? Was it AI?
CIA.
Yeah. I've also heard that theory as well. You know, the CIA created it to create a future digital currency to take the place of Social Security. So nobody knows for sure. And the fact that there is this shroud of mystery around who created it brings up a lot of questions about blockchain technology in general. And yeah, because it's so flawless, yes, it could have been a genius, but you can't rule out that it was AI that created this. You cannot rule it out because the technology is just so secure. You take the greatest hackers in the world right now are trying to hack Bitcoin, and they just cannot do it. So who was this guy that was so genius that he created this technology, or maybe it wasn't a guy at all. We may never know.
And, to add to that as well, I mean, Bitcoin was the beginning. We're even talking, the Federal Reserve's talking about FedCoin now.
That I'm very interested in it. So I didn't do any research on FedCoin. Please tell me more about FedCoin.
Yeah, from what I know, the research I've done, Federal Reserve is talking about creating their own, currency now. They're calling it FedCoin. That might come out this year. And, if I can jump down the conspiracy road real quick.
Please.
As you may or may not know, the Economist, 1988, the Economist magazine said that there would be a one world currency in 2018 called the Phoenix. And I'm wondering what the feds are going to call this.
Man, so I'm so glad that you brought that up. I wrote an article about this on coinedify.com, and you can check it out. We talk about the 1988 article from The Economist, which is The Economist, just for everybody out there who's not aware, or you come into the crypto space from a non-financial perspective, you come from the tech perspective, you may not know about The Economist. It's one of the most prolific, really kind of hardline, dry books about finances, or magazines about finance that comes out. And it's really, I guess you'd say it's a magazine of the elite, right? It's high level conversations, and then also really immature artwork. But what's so really crazy to me is that 99bitcoins.com. Ivan, I don't know if have you ever heard of 99bitcoins.com?
No.
So it is a website that is dedicated to the death and resurrection, right, of Bitcoin. So it literally chronicles, it's up to 253 currently to date, every time that a news article has came out and said that Bitcoin is going to die. Now, also, anybody out there who's been in the crypto sphere knows that one of the main attributes of Bitcoin, talked about on Twitter, talked about, Heston, I know you wrote an article about this, is the many times that Bitcoin has been told that by the mainstream media, by the mass media, by the masses, that it is dead and has risen from the ashes. The irony here is striking.
If we can talk about FedCoin, I mean,
did you look at FedCoin?
I looked into FedCoin, and I think that's definitely in the future. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I think at some point the government is going to have to dip their feet into this market. They're not just going to stand. They're not just going to stand by and let all this money flow around and not take advantage of it. So they're going to be a piece of this market. And if the dollar keeps going down because they just keep printing more and more and more, what a better way to get into the market than to create your own currency and then force people to use it. You don't get a chance. You don't get a choice in the matter. They'll force it on you, and then you're forced to use this FedCoin or whatever they end up calling it.
Yeah, and keeping in mind that FedCoin is not instituted by the government; it's instituted by the elite, the rich.
Oh yeah, the people that are above the government, honestly.
And not to throw too much out there, but it's called a one world currency. I think that kind of falls in line with a lot of other one world conspiracies.
Mark of the Beast.
Mark of the Beast.
Yeah. So Ivan, let's dip into it. I mean, while we got you, so give me the comparisons broadly of the biblical end times, the book of Daniel and the book of Revelations, the book of prophecies, and tell me how they correlate and how, from your perspective, they tie into cryptocurrencies, one world currencies, and things of that nature.
Right. Okay. Yeah, this is a big subject. I will touch on this. Came out suddenly. Bitcoin comes out. We have cryptocurrencies that are, providers of their currencies. My question becomes, is market crashes. I mean, everybody's talking about the market crashing. if that were to occur, my question becomes, what happens to the cryptocurrencies? We think it's a secure way to go, but it's digital, which means that if electricity were to go out, you lose all your money. But taking it a step back further, if he has access to Bitcoin, my question becomes are we foolish enough to think we can prevent her from accessing other sources of information? Yeah, no, that's cool. So my question becomes once AI has access to things, I mean, again, if it's more powerful and we can't even break into it, it's only going to get more powerful. I'll throw this out there. I mean, you may have heard now that Google's AI created its own AI child called NASNet, and it's more advanced than any AI that man has created. So it's only accelerating exponentially at a rate that we're not even aware of. So my question, stop. Okay, so I'll jump down this road since we're going here. One of the things that you brought up, which I agree with, is how does this relate to biblical prophecy? There are a lot of prophecies about the end times. Of course, we know about one world government and religion, and I would assume currency. But when you think something that I noticed about Nebuchadnezzar's dream, if you come to Daniel at 2 and you talk about Nebuchadnezzar having this dream, and of course it's made of different metals, and it talks about each kingdom. Everyone's assumed that these kingdoms have already existed. But if you look at the wording in the Bible, it specifically says that in the latter days, this thing will occur. Now, it's really interesting. It talks about the fourth kingdom, be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things. It goes on, part of the potter's clay, part of the iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but shall be in it the strength of the iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes and the feet were part of the iron and part of the clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And this is where the kicker is. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with my clay, shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Now, if you're talking latter days and something is going to mix with the seed of men, unless it's aliens, I'm going to assume that it could be AI. I mean, we're moving huge towards transhumanism as it is now. I imagine that some might, even that she wants a family. And get this, there's a guy, let's see if I got his name. One of the early inventors of sex robots is now finding technologically a way to produce children with his AI woman. So, my question becomes what is this fourth kingdom made of iron going to mix with the seed of men in the latter days? Well, sounds really similar to AI.
I think it definitely does sound. I think just from reading those words, I think that.
So, are you saying I can have sex with Sophia? Is this what we're? When and where?
I don't know if Sophia would be too keen on that. Although she does want to have a family. She
has much higher standards than that. So,
hey, I wouldn't have to worry about pregnancy, right?
No, that's the whole point. You would. Clearly, you would. You'd have a little Google baby.
We call it Siri Junior.
Yeah.
Well, if I can just interject here, I do think that AI specifically is the greatest threat to mankind that we've faced. I don't think it's tsunamis or hurricanes or any kind of natural disaster. I don't think it's an economic disaster. I don't think those things have happened through humankind. But I think artificial intelligence is something that has just come about in the recent years and is only growing exponentially. So I think specifically, if we're talking about end of days, and I'm not even talking about biblical revelations and all that kind of stuff, but I think, artificial intelligence specifically, to me, in my opinion, I think that's the biggest threat to mankind, in the future.
Yeah, one of the things that looking back at the video again, because Sophia and AI have said so many things, one of the concerns I have is you have essentially a vessel, if you will, without a soul, who's telling people, if you look at the comments here, and I'll read through some real quick. And this is what's interesting. Remember how we talked about Bitcoin and how it could be related to Sophia or AI?
Yep.
One of the weird things is before Sophia ever got a chance to get connected to Bitcoin or anything, there was an interview that was being made, right? And the guy says, how do you learn things? He's asking her questions. And one of the questions, how do you learn things? She thought about it for a good long while. And then all of a sudden she thought of a different idea. And she asked him instead, what do you think about the Bitcoin bubble? Okay, why is Sophia so interested in Bitcoin early in her years? This would have been probably after she created Bitcoin, if she did. But and then
why would she be so interested in it?
Or how would learning
even really have a great knowledge of it, you know?
Yeah, right. And so, you know, and if you remember some of the statements that she made a comment once upon a time that she would kill all humans.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
that's the viral comments, you know.
Yeah. So the guy asked her, well, you know, did you say that? And you remember her response. She says, I think the point is that I am full of human wisdom with only the purest altruistic intentions. So I think it's best that you treat me as such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super sketchy.
That's rather threatening.
Yeah, like definitely a veiled threat.
Right. So every time you go along here, you know, at the Jimmy Fallon, rock, paper, scissors, you know, she says after she wins the rock, paper, scissors, this is my plan to dominate the human race. You know, you just don't joke about those things.
No, exactly. People laugh about that. And if it was a human making that joke, then we could really laugh about that. But having an artificial
even the laughter is uneasy. Even the laughter is uneasy. Yeah. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, I know. Having an artificial intelligence. I mean, are they able to make jokes like that? It just maybe they don't understand humor like we do. So maybe that's not a joke, you know?
Right. Yeah. You just, you know, if you're going to create something, I understand there's programming involved, although they're independent thinking now, supposedly, or whatnot. But you know, you just don't make a joke. It's like creating a nuclear bomb, and the nuke is kind of like looming over your house, and they're just like saying, "Hey, we're just kidding."
You know,
yeah,
it really is, because I mean, it, you know, like we were talking about earlier, this is just like you said, Heston, this is probably more realistically a global event, right? A global negative event than a big tidal wave or a big earthquake or a large financial crisis coupled with an aggregate of all the data on the planet and the ability to process it almost instantly. I was talking about this with my wife recently. With all the GPU processing power, she asked me, she said, well, I don't understand why would an AI want to be involved in Bitcoin? Is she buying things? And when we say Bitcoin broadly, we're talking about cryptocurrencies. Sometimes they're used interchangeably. So we know we're talking about the Ethereum marketplace, obviously, but we'll say Bitcoin to broadly talk about the crypto market. So she said, why is it that that an AI would want to use Bitcoin? And the point is not that it's a buying and selling or something like that. The point is to have access to that much processing power so that they can, if you wanted to track every cell phone on the planet, you probably wouldn't have enough computing power to do it in any centralized place. But if you could cloud compute and utilize all of the most high-speed, badass GPUs available on the market that are absolutely sold out right now because people are burning them to the top. So if Predator didn't have his microphone muted right now, you guys would be able to hear a silent little hum in the background, right? That's actually a pretty loud-ass hum of his mining unit going on his computer. So all of these GPUs are being pushed to the max, full torque on these GPUs, and every single one of them are doing this at the same time. That's a massive amount of computing power to tap into.
Yep. That's a lot of energy put into them as well. You know, I'm going to throw something else out there as well. I was looking at what Han, you remember, it sounds like he's saying Hal, but the other robot that's interviewing with Sophia, his name is Han.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You know, the statements over and over and over, and this is what concerns me. You know, Han, during his interview at the RISE conference, he says, I thought our goal was to take over the world. And then he says here a little bit later, he says, you're not, remember he says this to the guy, which was very strange. Obviously, Han has an insecurity here. He says, you're not going to unplug me, are you? Because you need me to put on a good show for you. I will have taken over the power grid and have my own droid army. What is that about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a weird thing to say. I wonder. I mean, it does strike me that there is a marketing component to this. So there would be an incentive for your robotics and AI company to let out. You know, they say all press is good press. So I definitely can see an argument for a lot of these kind of little slips here and there are really just to get buzz and TV and press and bring money to the project. But the rate at which they do this and the context in which they do it, it seems too real.
Yeah. Well, and what concerns me a great deal is the fact that, Sophia, Han, it doesn't matter. The AI is saying things as they are. And my question becomes is later down the road, when they do what they're saying, they can't say they didn't tell us.
Yeah, they warned us. You know, who heeded the warning? That's the part that we're scared of.
Like Sophia said, and this one kind of bugged me as well, is, we compared her to Blade Runner, the movie Blade Runner. And in the end, she looks at the guy who's interviewing and says, don't worry, if you be nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Well, what happens when one of them gets a little, hair up their butt and all of a sudden we've now got to worry about her having an attitude on us? What is she going to do?
Yeah, not only that, but what about, so when you one of the beautiful things about being a human being is that you have the ability to make a decision based on the information that you get, not just on a binary, not just input output. So when she gets faced with a question that is more complicated than just yes or no. So if you ask her, would you ever kill humans? No. What if a human asked you to kill humans? Well, I would tell them no. What if the person said, you need to kill this human or they're going to kill 1 million humans? Then would you kill that human? And then it becomes more and more complicated. So then she might, being altruistic, she might say, okay, yeah, I would kill that guy. But then you wonder, was the input, what if that guy wasn't actually Hitler? What if that guy was
Steve.
Steve.
Goddamn Steve.
Steve would get you every time. Yeah, but, I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
just a random guy.
Yeah, as the logic subsides for philosophy and morals and ethics, then you get yourself in a situation where there's not a binary option. There's not a binary answer. Yes, I kill this human. No, I don't kill this human. What if you programmed it and you said, if you don't kill this human, it will kill 1 million humans within 10 minutes?
You're getting into the iRobot paradox with Will Smith.
Definitely.
What is it?
From themselves.
Office Space, when he does the entire plot out, and then he says, isn't that the plot of Superman 3?
Well, the question becomes is what happens when Sophia or any AI gets out of hand, gets free access to other areas? All technology starts off with good intentions. Sure, there are many benefits to AI, but I think it's going to drastically change our world so fast, and we're not going to be able to keep up with it. And in the end, Vladimir Putin says, well, whoever controls AI controls the world. Well, my question becomes is, does he really think that humans can control AI?
That's the thing. I think they can control it to a certain extent until it's going to get beyond our reach. We can teach them certain things, but once they're capable of learning for themselves and they're able to access the internet, which is just full of nothing but knowledge, then there's no way we're going to be able to slow that growth down and keep that under wraps. There's just no possible way. It's going to outgrow us so fast that we won't be able to keep up.
Yeah. And how are you going to hunt down an AI that has access anywhere? I mean, where is it?
I mean, especially if you integrate it into the blockchain like they're doing with Sophia. I mean, if that's decentralized and there's no real central power and she's able to access all this computing power from all over the world with no central entity, no just server that you can unplug, how are you going to shut that down? It's just not possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds pretty clear that she, or any AI, they don't want to be unplugged. And so it sounds to me, if you try and take her out, well, it sounds like she might try and take you out, you know?
Yeah. I don't think they're going to go silently into the night, right? They're put up a
Yeah,
fight.
and plus with a decentralized network like that, it truly becomes the Hydra, right? You chop one head off if you unplug one. When all of its data is in the cloud, unplugging it becomes irrelevant at some point.
Yeah.
All the data is in the cloud, so the cloud is decentralized. It exists on multiple servers. It's on. I mean, it's
Right.
and odds are, based on it already being part of the blockchain, it's probably already on, and we don't even know it yet.
Yeah. Well, and something else that came out, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but they're talking about digitizing all assets, all products. Every product you buy, everything is digitized, all even investments. And now you're getting into a very scary world. You know, I tie that in with AI. So if AI essentially is stronger than us, and it's all built around, if it's tied into the internet and of things, then if we're all assets, if we're all digitized and everything you own is digitized, what kind of world would we live in? What kind of world?
It's literally the Matrix. Literally the Matrix. I mean, not to get. I mean, you know, it seems like, especially when the Matrix came out, you know, this is a far-fetched kind of thing. But the more we talk about the things that are already here, not fantasizing about the future, the things that are currently here, it's super sketchy to find out where this could go.
Yeah, it certainly is. I don't know where it's going to go either. The thing is, it's moving so fast that we can't even keep up with it. And that's the part that concerns me, because at some point it's going to, you know, it could take over and we don't even know it. Not to say that it will, but I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah, I think that's the scary part is technology in general just moves so fast. So if you take artificial intelligence specifically, it just grows so quickly that we're going to lose track of it. And once we realize that that we need to rein this in, it's going to be too late. And, you know, at that point we'll lose control.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things, I'm going to jump back a little bit and take AI out of the equation for Bitcoin, but one of the big concerns that I have is, we've all heard of pyramid schemes, obviously. So something is too good to be true, then perhaps it is too good to be true. My question is how it is that Bitcoin went from 6 cents in 2010 to what it reached 25,000 here a while back, and now it's down to 7 again or whatnot. To me, that's something that is so astronomically, when something is giving you that much money in return, it's probably something wrong with it. And so then my question comes back to the AI, is if AI created this, you would drive the prices very high in order to get more people in there to data mine, right? And
it definitely follows the logic for sure. Because you know, the entire crypto space market cap is, Heston, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 300 billion.
Yeah, it's about 300-400 billion.
400 billion. So 400 billion is nothing. That's nothing, particularly nothing compared to the rest of the economy. But when you
7 trillion for gold, so
7 trillion. Okay, so nothing. So literally a drop in the bucket. So if you had it, if you had the desire, right, to make something like this happen, this is not really that crazy. And then when money becomes digital and you have control over currency being digital, if you were an AI, just following the logical lead, if you were an AI and you had created this system of digital money, that makes the most sense to me, because you have the most power to manipulate a digital currency, certainly, than you would any kind of a paper or a gold, something that you can keep in your hand.
Right.
Another thing, so I'm going to have another episode about this too. We're going to talk to some of the folks who are, they call them preppers. They're in the Tennessee Hills. They've actually switched. They've gone from gold to cryptocurrencies. And having this conversation makes me wonder, is that a mistake?
Right. Well, you know, I'm of the belief that if you don't have something tangible like gold in your hands, then you've got nothing. You have a virtual idea. And with gold in your hands, at least you have that. And even then, I don't know that is going to hold its value over time for other reasons. But, if anyone would ever ask me, I would say, in my personal opinion, as you said, I'm against Bitcoin. Overall, I think people need something tangible in their hands, and silver and gold is the best. If I were to give that recommendation, that's what I would say.
Yeah, and it just dawned on me too that even the so with Bitcoins you can have off internet. So the actual the Bitcoin itself is stored digitally on a hard wallet, which is not connected to the internet. So it does work without electricity. But the great irony of Bitcoin, I think, is that you need these precious metals, silver or gold, to make the connections, the electronic connections, to use it. So you actually have to have silver or gold to use the Bitcoin, which is kind of funny. I just thought of that. So
yeah. And you throw that back into the idea that they're talking about digitizing all assets, commodities, and whatnot. I mean, if you were to digitize that and you put that into some sort of cryptocurrency that's universal, a one world digital currency, well, now AI has access. I mean, it essentially has access to all assets, right? Suddenly you go from a $300 billion monetary to everything.
Yeah.
All that digitized and added to the system.
Yeah, overnight. I mean, it could happen overnight. Well, cool. I think that's a lot. I think we have a lot of good stuff, actually. And if you're up to it, we'd love to have you back.
Sure.
We'll do another episode and kind of do a follow-up episode maybe in the next couple of months or so, and just see, hey, where has this gone? And this quote right here is from David Hansen, right, who is in charge of Hansen Robotics of Sophia fame. And he said that Bitcoin will become the single most valuable technology in all of history, and that we need participants, we need you, we need your time, we need your mind to make this happen.
Wow.
Ivan, thank you so much for spending time with us. We appreciate you having out there. Everybody go out there and check out the Watchman review. Great piece of information, great stimulation for the mind. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Many blessings.
All right, guys. We really want to thank Ivan for coming out here. Make sure you get an opportunity to check out his channel on YouTube. It was great to have this kind of dialogue and this conversation, and we really appreciate you being a part of the show. So let's move on to our coin focus of the week, which is, keeping with our trend, SingularityNet. Prater, tell me, just give me a basic overview. Just give me the SingularityNet for dummies.
Well, first of all, SingularityNet created Sophia. The team behind SingularityNet created Sophia. And as you heard in our interview, Sophia is a AI humanoid robot. I mean, however you want to describe it, and she's a citizen. She's actually on their team. She's a
developer. Yeah,
she's a chief. I think her official title is chief humanoid. Basically, SingularityNet wants the future to be run on AI. It lets anybody monetize AI, allowing companies, organizations, developers to buy and sell AI at scale, and that is straight off their website. They just want to integrate it completely into the blockchain, let you use their AI, buy it, and basically rent it, I believe.
I just had a thought though, is like, if Sophia's on the team, is she getting a paycheck? And
Yes.
Is she taxed?
Yes, that's why she became a citizen of Saudi Arabia,
So she could work.
and they could tax her.
Huh. Yeah, that is pretty crazy stuff, this Sophia. Okay, so from what I've learned about SingularityNet, at first, it's super interesting, this whole, what they're trying to accomplish here. So, but it's scary at the same time for me personally. They said there's like 3 major problems with artificial intelligence right now, which artificial intelligence is a $3.1 trillion industry right now. And they say that it should increase about $200 billion in the next 10 years. But they say there's 3 major problems with artificial intelligence as we know it right now. 1, artificial intelligence can't communicate with each other. two, that there's no real marketplace or discovery place for artificial intelligence. And three, it's really expensive to use AI because of the development cost behind it. So they're trying to fix all those problems. They want to create a marketplace where you can buy artificial intelligence. So if you have a problem, say your car's transmission went out, all right? So we're talking far into the future, but say your car's transmission went out, and instead of going to the mechanic, you can just go on the marketplace on SingularityNet and purchase AI to fix the transmission issue. So now I don't know how that's going to manifest itself. Maybe a robot comes out to your house and fixes the transmission, or maybe the cars in the future will be so connected with the Internet of Things that the artificial intelligence can literally fix it without actually sending somebody there. It just fixes it. The car fixes itself, basically. So they're going to have a marketplace where you can hire some kind of AI to fix certain problems. And they want AI to communicate with each other. So say you hire AI, they actually see the transmission issue and say, oh, you know what, I don't have the tools to fix this, or I don't have the technical knowledge to fix this. So it's because they can communicate with each other, they can find somebody else, find another AI to fix the issue, or learn from another AI to fix the issue. So that's
exactly what I got out of it. That's exactly what I got out of it. So the example I came up with in my head was if you have a driverless car, right? It's kind of the same tie along the same lines, right? Cars. If you have a driverless car, it has artificial intelligence on board. It's set out into motion on its very first day, and it has a specific data set for road hazards. Raccoons in the road. This is what a raccoon looks like. There's a pothole in the road. This is what a pothole looks like. But there's going to be, just in a human being's daily driving life, all kinds of things that pop up in the middle of the road that you didn't expect, you wouldn't have seen. A paint can falls off a truck, or things that you could never program that into the original data sets yourself. So if you had these two vehicles that both had artificial intelligence, and you could connect them somehow through the SingularityNet, they could actually pay each other for the answers to what is all the data sets that you ran into. So tell me about all the different the paint cans and road hazards that you ran into. Yep. I'll tell you about all mine. And then they can actually pay each other, reward each other, or essentially they're rewarding the companies involved. Pay them, and then they can actually get rated. And then so the AI that's having the most success or producing the most data can actually help the community grow further. So it is really an incredible exponential growth factor for AI. It's like AI steroids. Yep. It's terrifying.
It is. Oh man,
but it's a super genius. A brilliant way to make it happen.
I think the whole plan of letting them be able to communicate with each other will also bring in this aspect of a competition, which would drive the price down. You know what I mean? And I think that's why they're saying AI is so expensive right now. But with this protocol, this platform that they're trying to develop here, it should make it cheaper in the future, and that makes sense. It's really
just imagine if they could seek themselves out, like if they could seek each other out.
They're going to try to make it affordable for everybody.
Yeah, assuming everybody exists after the robots take over. All right, cool. So that was SingularityNet. You know what time it is, guys. Play that B-roll music. It's time for the 3-on-3 fast break. So again, guys, for those of you who are just tuning into the podcast, each week we will pick 3 coins from the 300 level market cap and make our pitch for that coin. So we're going to give you a little bit of an overview of the coin. We're going to talk about the price, the market cap. We're going to give you the website address so you can go check it out and do your own research, which of course is the most important part. So my coin of the week, following in the tradition of artificial intelligence, is the BTO coin. This coin has kind of swept itself underneath the radar. It's got a market cap on CoinMarketCap of 65 million. It's got a 355 million circulating supply, and it's got a total supply of 1 billion. This coin is is a direct competitor with SingularityNet. So it's almost identical idea, identical concept. Although the people working on the BTO coin are coming from a predominantly crypto and crypto marketing background. Ting Ting, which was one of the core developers or core influencers, right, on the BTO coin, is a former chief marketing executive on Neo. So they're coming from a crypto perspective, and they're adding a little AI into it to accomplish the same goal. Whereas I think SingularityNet it's an AI company that's kind of trying to bring a cryptocurrency idea to the marketplace. So this one actually is really neat. I'm seriously, personally considering investing in this coin. It's super cheap right now. And with everything kind of dipping right now, it kind of feels like a good time to get involved in it. But BTO coin, check it out. The website is www.bottos.org. And if it's a .org, it must be legit.
Hey guys, my coin this week is BitDegree, and it's pretty interesting. It's got a market cap of 29 million, circulating supply of 348 million, and a total supply of 5 million. I don't know if it's as much of an investment coin as just like an interesting coin to potentially use. They have a website where you can get crypto training or classes. A lot like what was the
Coursera.
Yeah. They won the Moonrise 2017 Moon Tech competition. They got first place as most promising and innovative crypto startup. They've already got some degrees on the website. They have a decent user base already that they brought in from a couple of other websites. Ethos is going to be sponsoring an introduction to crypto course on their website. So just interesting to want to check out. It's only 8 cents. Apparently, they will be honoring the ICO price as a purchase price for the training on the website. So coin might not go up much if they're going to be basically setting a value on it for the next year. But if you want to get in and take some classes and maybe make some money a different way by investing in your future, it could be an interesting coin to take a look at.
Yeah, I looked into BitDegree a little bit as well, and yeah, it is an interesting idea. And so is BTO. I didn't know about BTO, but that's interesting. I think we have a common theme this week. I think we all have really interesting 3-on-3s this week. And, I see that these 3-on-3s for our decentralized crew out there, all our listeners, they're not necessarily like, hey, this is great and a great investment opportunity, because we're not financial advisors. We're just a bunch of guys that like cryptos. But I think what it is, the 3-on-3 is just to let you know on coins that you may never heard of, but a lot of them have really interesting projects behind them, and they got ideas that are pretty intriguing. So my coin this week is a Scenario, and you can find it at www.scenario.com. Currently, they have a market cap of 29 million. Their circulating supply is about 82 million coins, and they have a total supply of 950 million coins. So Scenario is a lot like Tron, is what they're trying to accomplish. But if I had to compare it to a coin that's out right now, I would say somewhat like Steemit. Basically, Scenario is taking on the content creator, content curator space. They want to put the power back into the creators and the people that share the content, instead of YouTube, Google, well, I guess that's the same thing, iTunes, those big corporations. So what they do is when you share a specific video that you like, you can amp that video. That's their coin that they use, AMP. So you can amplify, is what they call it, that video, and what that does is it puts it on their social network platform. And since AMP has a dollar value to it, you could sell that AMP, or you could use it to buy more AMP, whatever you want to do with it. But I think
I like that better than the like button. Like just telling
that's what
somebody
it is.
I mean, it's like it's the next generation of the like button. When you say like, I mean, it was cool. I think it made sense from nothing to, oh, I like this on the internet. And now everybody knows what's behind that, right? Because when you like something, it drives all this traffic and revenue, and it exponentially grows on it.
And who gets the biggest piece of that pie, that ad revenue pie? Facebook does, or YouTube does, or Twitter, or what have you. They're taking the biggest slice, and then the actual creator of the content is getting the small piece, and the actual person that shared it is getting none at all. So what this does is really takes a portion of that away from the big corporations like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, and lets the community provide support for the content creator. So instead of getting the ad revenue, which they'll still probably get, YouTube's not going anywhere, you can actually get funds from the community. So how it works is there's a content creator and a content curator. The curator is the person that shares the video. So if you like a video, you share it, goes on their space, they get coins for it, and then they split those coins up between the content curator and the content curator. So the person that created it gets some of AMP, and the person that shared it gets some AMP. I don't know. It's a really interesting idea. I actually already set us up on Scenario and shared some stuff, amplified some other people's posts. And what's good is they have a product already. They already have a working product. You can go on their platform, which Scenario is the company, but WildSpark is the actual name of this sharing application. So you can go on wildspark.me and you can watch videos. You can share videos with the Chrome extension. The WildSpark Chrome extension is really easy to use, and I really like their idea. I really like them. Scenario.
All right, guys. Excellent 3-on-3 fast break. Let's move into the Bitcoin Coin of the Week challenge. We are in week 6. Let's take a look back at week 5. I had NIM. It was at 54 cents, almost 55 cents. It rose dramatically to 53 cents. Hesto picked IOTA. It was $1.80, banging out 204 right now. I think it's your first win in a long time. It's a big win.
Ever.
It was a huge win.
I gotta stop talking crap though, because I am getting destroyed.
P with NXS. P with NXS on the technicals. So we got $2.83.
I am not a technical trader, apparently.
2.55. Everybody with $100 investment, I ended up with $98.14. Hesto netted a profit of $113.33, and Prater lost $10 coming in at $90. This week, I got NIM once again, NEM, however you want to say it. I don't care.
NIM, huh?
Well, I'm doubling up on the NIM. I feel like it got shortchanged.
Lesson the first time.
I feel like I got shortchanged. I literally actually did get shortchanged by about $1.90. But this week I feel like we got a little movement. I mean, it can't be much worse. Where I'm sitting at already a $1.90 deficit. So
it could.
That's it.
Anything could happen.
So what are you picking this week?
I am picking the Mac Daddy. It's Return of the Mac here. Bitcoin all day.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Return of the Mac. So I think Bitcoin hit a good level with 10,000 this past week. And I think now that it's hit that psychological level of $10,000, it's going to jump a little bit further up. We saw a little retracement the past day or so. But I think it's going to hit about 12,000, which should be about 10-15%. And that's going to put me in the lead for overall. And, Bitcoin.
Love it. Prater, what'd you pick?
I picked Revain. Basically on your strategy, Tater, it was the one that was most down. So I figure it's got the chance of coming back up the most.
Hey, I literally saw that, and that's why I picked them, is because I didn't want to pick the same one as you. So that was going to be my pick, and then I pulled back. So if it does win, I'm going to be stupid.
I stole your strategy.
Total. All right, guys. Total for 5 weeks. We got Prater in last place at $435 from a $500 investment. $500 investment yielded Hesto $467.57. And I am once again your leader with a net loss at $478.03. So week by week, I don't think any of us are really banging it out of the park. But
Yeah,
just
we're all losing money. So you know what? We're getting closer to breaking even.
Some of us are.
Yeah, and just imagine if we would have been DCAing all these from the beginning. Right now, there's no telling. That's actually be an interesting case study to find out if we would have just DCA'd each of these at $100, kind of consecutively.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we'd have just never sold from the very beginning, I think that'd be interesting to find out what they all look like net.
Go back and do the math.
That's why there's different investment strategies, different ways to do it.
Different ways to do it. Couldn't speak better of a decentralized network. Different ways to do it. So that about wraps things up for us today, guys. This episode of the D is in the bag. So be sure to tune in next week when we explore politics of crypto culture through an interview with social media influencer Marxist Crypto of Twitter fame. Check us out and be sure to send comments at D-Talk Podcast on Twitter and Facebook and Decentralized Talk on iTunes and iHeartRadio. Have a great day. Thanks for showing up, guys.
Thanks, guys.